shadow of the Erdtree, a tender embrace, a wound self-inflicted, and the pain of abandonment. What does it all mean? What is the shadow of the Erdtree? To answer this, we must first look at what casts the shadow. The Erdtree rises above the lands between, a golden beacon whose light touches every corner of the land. It grants warmth, guidance, and purpose, anchoring the golden order and giving meaning to life itself. But what really is the Erdtree? In the philosophy of Plato, the Erdtree mirrors the form of the good, the highest and most perfect reality. Plato believed that beyond the physical world lies a realm of perfect and eternal truths, what he called the forms. These forms are the ultimate essences of all things, unchanging and eternal, standing above the imperfect world we see and touch. At the pinnacle is the form of the good, the source of all truth and being. Think of the sun. It gives light, allowing trees to grow tall and strong, bearing fruit that nourish life. At the top is the sun itself, a symbol of ultimate truth. Beneath it are the trees, symbols of higher ideals like justice, compassion, and order. At the bottom are the fruits, everyday things we see and experience, imperfect reflections of those higher truths. Sun warmth stone. Spirit gravestone, blessed with an Erdtree incantation, uses FP to generate sun warmth, continuously restoring HP of those nearby. Sunlight fills all the warmer in darkened lands. The Erdtree is the sun of the lands between, embodying the form of the good. Its golden light shines on all things, granting power to the Elden runes, the higher forms of this world. Concepts like order, justice, and compassion. Without the Erdtree, the runes would lose their power, just as life would wither without the sun. Corin, a devout follower of the Golden Order, captures this idea perfectly.
The Erdtree, heart of the Golden Order, lies before our very eyes.
The Erdtree is more than just a physical presence. It is the metaphysical heart of the lands between, the source of truth and meaning. Its light guides the soul, much like Plato's form of the good illuminates the path to enlightenment. But enlightenment comes at a cost. In Plato's Phaedo, he writes, "The body is the source of endless trouble to us by reason of mere requirement of food, and is liable also to disease which overtake and impede us in the search after true being. It fills us full of loves and lust and fears and fancies of all kinds and endless foolery, and in fact, as men say, takes away from us the power of thinking at all." Plato saw the physical world as a distraction, keeping us from true knowledge. In the lands between, Mikula reflects this ideal, and he discards his physical form on his journey to divinity. His rejection of the flesh mirrors Plato's path to enlightenment, seeking to grasp the Erdtree's golden truth with the mind rather than the senses. The Erdtree represents everything Plato's form of the good stands for: light, reason, and ultimate purpose. It nourishes the land like a parent nurtures a child, providing the guidance of grace and warmth that sustains life. Its light is the reason the lands between thrives, but to attain enlightenment, one must leave the cave. In Plato's allegory of the cave, he describes the ascent from ignorance to truth as a steep and rugged climb out of darkness into the light of the sun. And suppose further that they are dragged up a steep and rugged ascent into the presence of the sun himself. The Republic, Book 7. This is the journey of the philosopher king, who escapes the shadow of the cave, sees the sun and grasps the form of the good with their mind. Yet, the Philosopher King's task is not merely to enjoy this newfound knowledge. They must descend back into the cave, bringing light to those who remain trapped in ignorance. But now imagine further that they descend into their old habitations, in that underground dwelling. In Elden Ring, the Empyreans, those chosen to inherit godhood, are the Philosopher Kings of the lands between. Marika's ascent at the gate of divinity mirrors this philosophical journey. She reaches beyond the physical, leaving behind the cave of ignorance and the shadows to see the golden light of the Erdtree, the form of the good. What sustains Marika's journey is the golden cord of reason. In the laws, Plato writes, "There is one among these cords which every man ought to grasp and never let go, or to pull with it against all the rest, and this is the sacred golden cord of reason." For Plato, aligning one's soul with reason is the path to virtue and enlightenment. Similarly, the state represented in the Golden Order must guide its people with laws rooted in reason, leading them toward virtue and suppressing vice. Marika, as the ruler of the Golden Order, pulls on its golden cord. Her alignment with reason reflects the Platonic ideal, the state led by wisdom and guided by the form of the good. Marika's journey culminates in the birth of the Erdtree, the ultimate symbol of truth, knowledge, and purpose.
An affair from which gold arose.
Its golden light embodies the form of the good, from which all other forms derive their meaning. The runes, concepts like order, justice, and compassion, gain their power through the connection to the Erdtree, just as all things find their reality in the good. But the Erdtree represents more than enlightenment. It is also a symbol of guidance, care, and mentorship, like a parent nurturing a child. The Erdtree's light sustains the lands between, just as the sun sustains all life. In Plato's Apology, Socrates says, "The unexamined life is not worth living." To live under the light of reason, to grow and thrive under its warmth, is truly to live. To be led by reason is reason to live. Even the flora of the lands between reflects this truth. The golden sunflowers, which grow facing the Erdtree, symbolize the relationship between the people and the form of the good. Golden sunflower. A golden sunflower that grows facing the Erdtree. At the foot of the Erdtree, they retain their color along with a powerful holy essence. Just as sunflowers grow by turning toward the sun, the people of the lands between thrive by facing the Erdtree, embracing its guiding light. When Marika grasped true knowledge, the golden light of the Erdtree illuminated the world's ignorance. With its brilliance came its opposite, the Scadutree, the shadow of the Erdtree, a reflection of all things that lies outside divine order. With true knowledge discovered, so too is ignorance. With light comes shadow. Just as the golden sunflowers which face the Erdtree are metaphors for being led by reason and a journey to enlightenment, so too are the shadow sunflowers which face the Scadutree, metaphors for those deprived of light, abandoned and trapped in ignorance. They cannot turn to the Erdtree, the source of divine light and truth. So instead, they turn to the corrupted reflection, the Scadutree, a brittle, shadowy perversion of the Erdtree. Shadow sunflower, a large flower that blooms facing the Scadutree. These flowers, veiled in shadow and covered in impenetrable thorns, are suffused with profound holiness, much akin to the Scadutree itself. To lose the Erdtree's light is not merely to lose knowledge, but to lose a guide, a mentor, a god, a parent. The shadow of the Erdtree looms as the absence of that guidance, grace, the abandonment felt when one is cast into the darkness. The journey from ignorance to enlightenment is never easy. Plato's allegory of the cave teaches us that moving toward light can be painful. Suppose now that they suddenly turn around and make them look with pain and grief to themselves at the real images. Will they believe them to be real? Will not their eyes be dazzled, and will they not try to get away from the light to something which they are able to behold without blinking? The freed prisoners struggle to turn away from the shadows, their eyes burning as they adjust to the brightness of truth. But for the Scadutree followers, there is no light to guide them. Instead, they are left in the dark, their path marked by suffering. When you are on the path to enlightenment, it can be painful. But what would happen if the light abandoned you? What would you be left with? Pain. Impenetrable thorns. Sorcery are those who abandon the practice of incantations after devout faith rewarded them with only despair. The caster wounds their own flesh, using impenetrable thorns growing from the Scadutree, which then sprout from the earth. The image of the twisted Scadutree is an edict. Denounce their ways, do them harm, for they have abandoned us. Their impenetrable thorns symbolize their state of isolation from divine truth. In an attempt to simulate the pain of enlightenment, they resort to self-inflicted wounds, hoping that suffering might lead to transformation. Yet, without light to illuminate their path, their wounds bring only further pain and despair. The Scadutree followers are like children abandoned by a parent, desperate for connection but left behind to fend for themselves. Their thorns reflect their rejection of external guidance, a barrier against the light they no longer trust or know. Their wounds are a tragic attempt to recreate the journey to enlightenment. The abandonment of the denizens of the land of shadows was a great transgression. Not only can this be understood in-game, but we can also deduce this from Plato's writings. But now imagine further that they descend into their old habitations, and if they find anybody trying to set free and enlighten one of their number, they will put him to death, if they can catch him. The Philosopher King is to return to the cave and enlighten the prisoners. America is supposed to be in the land of shadows, embracing the people and granting them guidance, warmth, and enlightenment. But as we can see, America has abandoned them. No, such a thing is utterly inconceivable. We have not been abandoned. Mesmer is the son of Queen America. Her Grace would never abandon her own flesh and blood. This is why Mikola is here, to right his mother's wrongs. Mikola will embrace, guide, and love everyone. Nobody will be abandoned, except one. The Erdtree's light may guide and nurture, but its existence creates the Scadutree. Together, they tell a story of duality, the warmth of knowledge and the chill of ignorance, the embrace of a parent and the void of abandonment. Thank you for watching the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I plan to make more. And if you're interested in learning more about Plato, please check the description down below.